Jenny here. Today's subject is fish, believe it or not. This is a subject that comes up quite often. People wonder, can you put fish and meat and other chicken, things like that into your bokashi bin? Yes, you can. It's a matter of choice. You don't have to. Many people choose to just use, just put in vegetarian vegetables and fruit in their bokashi bucket. But you know, you have food waste at home, and food waste, if you're not vegetarian, is a mix of everything. We eat mostly plant-based, but you know, there's a little bit of fish and meat and everything. So last night we had this fish for dinner. It's a smoked local fish, really nice, and yeah, this is what's left from it. So we have, it's like a cooking show. There's some bones. They're quite, you know, soft because it's a smoked fish and not that big. And some skin and the little head and the tail and all these normal fishy bits. So I'm just going to put those in the bokashi bucket completely as normal. For me it makes no difference. What I will do though is put a little bit of extra bokashi bran, because things like this that are really high in protein, and the same applies to any kind of meat or chicken or cheese, for example, with a lot of protein, they need a little extra kickstart to get going. So I would just sprinkle a little bit extra bokashi bran over the fish waste. This is quite a harmless fish, sort of small, and it's anyway smoked, not smelling that much. If you have a really big fish, you might want to divide it up into sections and layer it with other types of food waste, like some normal, you know, fruit and vegetables that come out of your kitchen, just so you don't have this mountain of fish waste. And again, a little bit extra bran on each layer. People ask quite often about shrimp skins and seafood, that sort of thing, because that's famous for really smelling, and it does. The trick with that is to not put it into the bucket when it's really wet. Like if you've had frozen shrimps, for example, and you've peeled them, which is a common thing in Sweden, let them drain off first before you put them in the bucket, and then it will be absolutely fine. I promise you, people do this all the time. So the trick is, let them drain, not too wet, not too many, just like, you know, batch by batch if you've had a whole party, and layer it with other types of food. And when you do put in the seafood or the shrimps or whatever, put a little bit of extra bokashi bran on them. And then I would say always make the top layer something else, like don't have shrimps or fish or meat or whatever on the top layer of your bucket. So if you can, add in just some normal household scraps on the top and give it a bit of a push down, so that you're reducing the air pockets, because these are all the things that might lead to problems. Do that and you'll have no problems, I promise you. One thing to watch out for though is bones. They can be quite sharp, fish bones. This particular fish, it's quite like, the bones are quite soft, so I'm not worried about them. But some fish have really, really hard bones, and you want to be careful you don't get those in your soil where you might touch them, because they can really cut you to pieces. So if you have something that you think might be risky in the soil, put a label on the bucket and dig it down in some place where you're not going to be digging, or maybe just pick out those bones and put them in the trash, or, you know, just think a little bit of the consequences. Do I really want these heavy, big, sharp fish bones in the soil? Because they do take a long time to break down, as do meat bones, and even chicken bones take a little while. I normally make a fish stock with this first, and that of course makes a difference, because everything gets softer and it's going to break down faster. But you know, life is not perfect. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So that's basically it, the fish story for today. Good luck.